Hello, my name is Algernon. Today I will summarize my favorite play for you. The Importance of Being Earnest. It opens in London in the tea room of a particularly handsome young man, me, chatting about marriage with my servant, Lane, when my dear friend Ernest comes in. But you see, this Ernest is a tad sus. He wants to marry my cousin Gwendolyn, and normally I promise her to approve, but last time he visited, he left a cigarette case that said, "To Jack, from Cicely," with a certain degree of intimacy that made me just a little bit uncomfortable. And no matter if he has a mistress and has been lying to me about his name, or is a thief, I don't quite approve of this desired union of his. Anyway, I confront him about this, and he, after quite a bit of witty dialogue, which is a bit of a surprise, as he's not a very witty person, well, he gives out to the truth, that his name is in fact Jack, and that Cecily is his ward, and that Ernest is a made-up person, his miscreant younger brother, that he uses an excuse to go up to town he pretends to be when he's up at town. Much like my invalid friend Bunbury, who, whenever I have an engagement I want to avoid, is mysteriously sick out in the country, and requires my immediate presence. We then agree to dine out, if I get my aunt, who's coming for tea later, out of the room so he can propose to my cousin Gwendolyn, who's also coming for tea. When suddenly my horrid Aunt Augusta comes for the tea that I regrettably had scheduled. After some much unwelcome pleasantries, I explain that I'm very disappointed, but I can't eat with her tonight, as my poor invalid friend Bunbury is sick. And she launches into an unnecessarily long speech about something. So I explain that I can help with the music on her last reception. As I get her into the music room to talk about said music, I leave behind Jack and Gwendolyn so they can get engaged. Gwendolyn, I believe I wasn't there, explains that she loves Jack solely because of his name, which she thinks is Ernest, and that Jack is an ugly name after Jack suggests other names like Jack. And after what Gwendolyn tells me is a disappointing proposal on the behalf of Jack, Aunt Augusta barges in and sends Gwendolyn to the carriage and lambasts Jack for his station. And as, Gwendolyn and I and Aunt Augusta really enjoy a certain nobility that Jack, unfortunately for him, doesn't. When Aunt Augusta learns that Jack is in fact an orphan, she immediately disapproves what otherwise could have been quite a match. And she leaves, as she does. And I, completely unaware of this newfound disappointment, play Wagner's, albeit not great, wedding tune. Jack makes me stop, and I come in and we talk, and I learn that he hasn't told his now fiancée that his name is Jack, and that he has an excessively pretty ward, Cecily, who's but 18. I think I might want to meet her. And I try to console him, but it's getting late, so we prepare to leave when Gwendolyn, of all people, barges in and sends me away. Don't worry, I sneak back in, and asks Jack his address so they can write letters. I, of course, catch this, and take note of it so that I can visit later. As we leave to dine, Act 2 opens in the garden.
Do you have nice legs and have trouble finding clothes that show them off appropriately? Then come on down to Mark Antony's Clothing Emporium. We got rugby shorts, we got short togas, and we got other things to show off your nice legs.
With Miss Prism, Cecily's tutor, and Cecily talking and learning. Cecily, of course, doesn't enjoy this, especially the German, and does everything she can to distract Miss Prism. Until, of course, she sees Dr. Chasuble. You see, Miss Prism has a bit of a crush on him, and he likes her, but they don't know about the other's affections, so we can all see where this is going, and Cecily convinces them to go on a walk. When all of a sudden I show up, introducing myself as Jack's brother, Ernest. See, earlier Jack mentioned that she was particularly fond of him, and began to woo her. She, of course, was quite smitten, though she mentions I was to go to Australia, place, and that Jack was picking my clothes, a nightmare on its own. As we part to go inside, I promise to make amends with Jack. Prism and Chasuble come back from the walk, and they do, in fact, see Jack, who is in mourning of his made-up brother, who I'm pretending to be Ernest, as he explains Ernest died of a severe chill in Paris. We discussed having something of this sort happen while we were in London. Cecily walks up and says that she was in fact just with Ernest, who's in the dining room, and comes back with me, and I of course apologized, telling Jack that I would be a much better person in the future, and that I was very sorry. And then Cecily and Prism and Chasuble leave, and Jack gets mad at me for being here, as I shouldn't be, and we argue. Then Jack leaves, and Cecily comes back, and we talk, and I learn that she thinks we've been engaged for a few months. Keep in mind, I haven't met her until today, and that I've written her letters, and that the engagement was at some point broken off. I leave, and we're still engaged, don't worry, it's not broken off permanently. And then Gwendolyn, of all people, comes and talks to Cecily. They eventually learn that they are both engaged to Jack's brother Ernest. Yeah, a bit unfortunate, I agree. And when Jack walks in, they figure out that he is in fact not Ernest, but Jack, and when I walk in, Gwendolyn rats me out, and they figure out there is no Ernest, and that they're engaged to no one. So Jack and I both make arrangements to be christened later, under the name of Ernest, of course, that day with D.D. Chasuble. And so in Act 2, with your amazingly handsome hero's life now in jeopardy as his engagement has been broken off. We start Act 3 with Jack and I skulking off stage. Wait, what? It's sulking? Who knew? Anyway, Jack and I sulking off stage, and Gwendolyn and Cecily discussing our punishments. We approach, and they mention to themselves that they would marry us despite their better judgments, if not for our names. Jack and I, then excited as ever, explain that we are to be christened this afternoon, and our engagements are no longer broken off. And then party people eternal Aunt Augusta barges in and demands Gwendolyn gets in the carriage. She lambasts Jack and then demands to know who I'm embracing. I, of course, am upset about her being here, and I explain that I'm holding the hand of the amazing, incomparable Cecily. Thank you very much, and that we are engaged to be married. Aunt Augusta then questions Cecily's heritage, and I am quite shocked to learn that Cecily's an heiress to quite a fortune. And Aunt Augusta then, because of the money, exclusively approves of the marriage. But Jack won't approve of the marriage unless she lets him marry Gwendolyn. When Dr. Chasuble, with terrible time as usual, comes in and makes everyone aware of Jack and my plan to be christened. Aunt Augusta is very upset by this, and when D.D. Chasuble mentions a Miss Prism, she grows even more enraged. She used to have a servant called Miss Prism. I think something happened with her baby. I'm not quite sure. Aunt Augusta is upset by this. And when Miss Prism comes in, Aunt Augusta makes a scene demanding the whereabouts of this baby, which was, according to Miss Prism, left at a Victorian station. Jack is very excited by this, as he was left at a Victorian station. In fact, the Brighton line, which upon further questioning, it's revealed that that's the very same line Miss Prism abandoned her baby. And he reveals the handbag that Miss Prism left the baby in as the handbag that he was found in. There, of course, was much excitement following this revelation, as he learns that he is in fact my older brother, which is a mixed bag. Is great shock, and, well, he reacted by dragging me around the room and reintroducing me to everyone present as his brother. And I got dragged around the room and I fell to my die several times. It was very fun.
and he questions what his Christian name was, and we learn that it's that of our father. Well, that is to say, Ernest John. As he learns the importance of being earnest. What are you doing in here? I'm shooting the video about the play. I said you could shoot the intro, not the full play. Well, it's too late for that. Just, giving info, like it's by Oscar Wilde, his last work before being arrested for being gay. Earnest is commonly interpreted as a code word for being gay. It's Pride Month, stuff like that. Well, it's too late for that. Bye. Yeah. Well, I hope you all enjoyed at least. Please like and subscribe, I guess. Hope you enjoyed. Yay.